I just watched Gladiator 2 last night. Let's go ahead and talk about it, and then I'll give my rating out of 10. This is a movie I was really excited to see because I'm a big fan of the original Gladiator film, and once they said a sequel was coming, I was like, hell yeah, let's go. So I went into this movie with high expectations, and I think Ridley Scott delivered a good movie, but it's not as good as the original. This movie felt like a copy and paste of the original. Basically what they did was they just took the major parts of the story of the first movie, did it again here. There's a lot of characters that feel like they serve the exact same purpose as some of the characters in the first film too. Now obviously it's not like a one-to-one remake, but there is a lot of similarities between Gladiator 1 and 2. And for me that was a pretty big negative because I could basically predict where the movie was going to go. But Ridley Scott does add some new stuff into this film, which I thought was really exciting. My biggest positive, I would say, for this film is the action scenes. They really upped themselves, in my opinion. You've got scenes with sharks, with rhinos, with boat fights. It was just very, very cool, very unique, compared to the original only having, handheld combat. So that was my big positive for Gladiator 2. Other than that, everything just felt like a copy-paste remake almost. I think Paul Mescal did a good job as Lucius. I don't think he's even close to Russell Crowe as Maximus, but I think he served his purpose, and I think he did a pretty good job. Denzel Washington was a standout. He's playing, I believe his name was Marcinus or Marcinus. I just checked, it's Macrinus, so I was pretty close, but I liked his character, really charismatic, really steals whatever scene he's in. Now let's talk about the two evil twin emperors and Pedro Pascal's character, which is like a military general for Rome. I really did not like these twin emperors. They felt very cartoonish, just very dumb characters, which I know is what Ridley Scott wanted from them, but why? I do think the actors playing these evil twin emperors did a good job for what they were trying to do. I just don't think they should have done it. These cartoonish villains really detract from the seriousness of the movie, and I just did not like them. Pedro Pascal's character of Acacius, I actually really liked him, but I wish they did a lot more with him. He's like this military general for Rome, but he doesn't necessarily agree with the tyranny that these two evil emperors are enacting across Rome and the world. So he's a pretty complex character, he is one of the highest ranking people for these evil emperors, but he's also against them. So I think there's some really good story that you can tell with Pedro Pascal's character, but they didn't really dive all that deep into him. I thought Pedro Pascal delivered a pretty good performance. I really love the costume design, especially with his character. His armor just looks absolutely incredible, and I love this gold and white cloak. That leads me into another positive that I have with this movie, is the costume and set design. It is top-notch. I thought the cinematography was pretty good, even though some shots the CGI is a little iffy. I thought the script was pretty good, and overall I did have a good time. My biggest takeaway, though, has to be the action. This is definitely the one thing that they really stepped up with in the sequel. And that's not to say that the original Gladiator didn't have great action, because it did, but this movie just really builds on that and improves it. So guys, I'm going to give Gladiator 2 a 7 out of 10. I think it's a good movie, it's just not great like the original. We've got some good characters, some good story, even though it's basically retreading what we've seen in Gladiator 1. I think if you're a fan of Gladiator, you're going to have fun with this sequel, and if you're a fan of action, you're really going to enjoy this. Let me know down below in the comments what you guys thought about Gladiator 2.